THIAGO Santos, Maheta, he gets back in the win column against Johnny Walker, man. Unanimous decision. And I don't know what the odds were on either fighter going to unanimous decision, but I think it was up there in the plus 800 category right there. And just really quickly, AJ, man, yeah, I had a plus 550 Dawkins by submission bet placed on. You know, I went what would you call it? I hedged my bet right there. Got canceled out to the no contest. God damn it. But it's okay because I hit on a bet on this one. I didn't bet winner for this fight, but I bet for total rounds to go over 1.5. And I'm glad that I did that because, yeah, 5 whole rounds, man. I think both of us said we should not expect this to go 5 rounds. DC on commentary says, folks, do not expect this to go 5 rounds. And he was like, I would have bet anything in the world that this fight wouldn't have gone 5 rounds. However, these are two power fighters who respected each other's power. But I want to talk more about Johnny Walker's corner advice, man. John Kavanaugh was all like, you're just going to be a point fighter. You're just going to throw a bunch of kicks. I did actually want to pull this up because I just read this right before we started, man. So Johnny Walker, he actually tweeted something out, man. And he says, I think I broke my foot a little fracture. That's why I stopped kicking. However, AJ, I thought that was the big problem of his game. I was like, all you're doing is kicking, man. You threw maybe like a handful of punches in the entire fight. What's going on here? What happened to the old Johnny Walker? What happened to the old Johnny Walker? Why are they trying to restrain him? And do you believe, AJ, because one thing I think Dean Thomas says is that Johnny Walker doesn't believe in his defense enough, which is why he's so timid, because he doesn't want to overextend, because he knows if he does that against a fighter like Santos, you get put to sleep. So he's then now just a shell of what was the Johnny Walker that blasted onto the UFC scene. Just give me your take on all that, man.
Yeah, it's hard because that's exactly what I had in my breakdown of the whole thing, man. We said it before, only you do you as best as you can. Nobody else can do that. So when you're trying to imitate somebody else or trying to be that point fighter when you're not getting the dub. So what's the point of doing it anyway? You know, like why do something if it's not going to get you the win? And even if it's because it's a double-edged sword, that style that Johnny Walker has, sure, you're going to leave yourself open, but everybody leaves themselves open the second they throw a punch. You know, if you're throwing a hand out, your chin's exposed either way. So why not go about it the way that got you to the top? Because essentially you got to do what got you to the big show. That's the reason it got you there. They really pulled the reins in on Johnny Walker, and I'm not a fan of it at all. I feel like that's the unorthodox style, the risk, the reward that he plays with is really what makes him him. And it's like what's going to separate you from the rest of the pack, really. And if you're just fighting a point style fighting, cool. All right, on to the next then. And you're going to stay in the middle of the heat doing the whole thing like that. I don't know. Originally, I like Straight Blast Jim as a coaching. John Kavanaugh is a genius out there, but he's really feeling like he's kind of hindering his fighters a little bit, especially with the last. I know there's a female fighter that fights out of there too. I can't remember. She was an English lady, but her fight as well, where you see the fighters not necessarily regressing, but they're staying complacent, which is almost just as bad, man. If you're not growing a little bit in each and every time you're fighting, you're getting worse technically because the competition's catching up to you. We've seen the same thing with Conor McGregor, the highlight of SBG. Man, he was the top dog for about 6-7 months, a year maybe, and then everybody started catching up. And now I don't know what he is on the UFC rankings, but on ours, you know, he's dropping down from number 1 to number 5 to just completely going down. I think on the UFC is number 9. Like it's weird to see. It's interesting to see. What was your takeaway?
Well, I will say, man, John Kavanaugh, would you argue he's kind of like Bill Belichick without Tom Brady? You know what I mean? Like he had that star, that superstar. Now you don't got him, and things are getting a little shaky. Now it's like, okay, are you as good of a coach as we thought? Kind of the same thing with Faraz, right? Zahabi.
Faraz Zahabi.
You know, a lot of
GSP.
people, don't get me wrong, man. Don't get me wrong. Dude, these guys are all geniuses. They know so much more about the sport, about combat sports in general than we ever will. But at the same time, the proof is in the pudding, man. And it's like you got that one stud athlete who's just a monster killer who you added a couple things to their game, but really it's them that are doing it. And then you got, okay, well, can you do that with every single athlete? And not every athlete is as receptive, you know what I mean? Johnny Walker, he seemed a little timid, a little tentative in there. And THIAGO Santos, man, he started feeling himself because he's like, oh, you're not going to throw anything? Okay, I'm just going to start sitting down on my shots then. And he did that, and Johnny Walker, man, body was beat up. He's a big guy, though. That's the crazy part. It's like what I was saying with Kevin Holland. I was like, if you take away that erratic nature of Kevin Holland's game, he's not the same fighter. He's not as effective. Same thing with Johnny Walker. He has to be erratic. You have to be willing to go in there and get knocked out. You can't sit there and point fight. And I think we need to create a new statistic, AJ, for John Kavanaugh and Johnny Walker, man. Significant feints per minute or something like that, man, because he would just like feint all day. Like if you're going to win a fight off of feints. Like feint's not going to win you a fight, you know what I mean? It'll set things up. But that's the big thing with Walker that I saw. Walker would set up the feint, Santos would bite on the feint, and then Walker wouldn't attack the opening. He would just be like, oh, I got you on the feint. Yeah, all right, cool. Calf kick, you know, and it's like, fuck, man. Like, I hope we see a little more explosive, a little more reckless Johnny Walker in the future, because I think that recklessness does lead to his success. But this is a big win by THIAGO Santos, man. Let's talk about Santos just for a quick moment, man. His first win since 2019. Once again, a couple of people who are getting in the win column for the first time in a couple of years. His last win, he beat the light heavyweight champion, who was not the champion at the time, Jan Blachowicz, via knockout, man. Big win. And this is actually his first decision win since 2018, AJ. And if I had to, I'm going to put you on the spot. Who's the last person that took THIAGO Santos to a decision?
Whew. Last person that took Santos to a decision. It
was 2018.
1-5. I'm just going to look at the rankings. So I actually have some, or 205, excuse me.
It was in 2018. So this was back when
2018. Yep. I'm going to go somebody crazy like Jimmy Crute, man. Ryan Spann, right. Someone like that.
Big mouth, Kevin Holland, man. 2018, brother. Come on. What are we talking about? This is a 185.
Yeah. He was the only one that didn't finish. Yeah. Okay.
So huge stock boost right there for Kevin Holland, right? But at the same time, like I said, first decision win. Santos is back in the win category. Wasn't as explosive. I guess the days of the THIAGO Santos Marreta blitz are over, because we haven't seen him in 3 fights, man. It's been a long time since we've seen those blitzes. Regardless, man, he got the job done. -170 favorite. Easy money right there. Very, very easy money if you're a Santos fan. However, I will say it wasn't as close as people may have thought. I gave Santos rounds 2, 3, and 5. I thought 1 and 4, and 4 was a stretch for Johnny Walker, man. Like I had to really reach to give him round 4. But 2, 3, and 5 solidly for THIAGO Santos. Huge win. Had Yana Kunitskaya in his corner doing the thing, man. They put on the Fox and the Hammer. I don't know what else to say about this, man, but I hope THIAGO Santos can keep up a couple more wins, man, and the clock is ticking. That's really all I have to say on this. The clock is ticking, and hopefully he gets either a big name or, I don't know, man. I don't know if title contention is in the future for THIAGO Santos, to be honest, man. We need to see a more well-rounded game. He didn't use the wrestling as much as I thought he would. What else you got on this, AJ?
Yeah, he didn't use the wrestling. He didn't really take advantage of his thing. The only real reason, because I had to go in 2-2 into the 5th as well. And the only reason I gave Santos the win is because he did more of the visual damage. He was able to get the knockdowns. He was able to land the big shots where everyone's like, oh, you know. But at the same point, Walker shook it off. He's like, yeah, it touched me, but it didn't hurt me. Where Walker landed more strikes at a higher pace, higher output. But then, like you said, they were just point fighting. Does that really count in a fight? Like, we're not technically scoring like buckets. Like, sure, you should be keeping control of the amount of strikes that happen, but usually it's because those strikes are leading up and doing more damage as they go, and you're able to take advantage of that. So at the end of the day, I give Santos the win too.
Yeah, man. He had the oohs and the ahs, man. That Las Vegas Raiders were in attendance at the fight, which is the most random thing I've ever seen, right? Because I was like, when they said that, I was like, okay, that's cool. Vegas makes sense, but that's so random at the same time. I wish they would have got a better main card, man, because this was a little, you know. But it's okay, man, because we got a banger coming up next weekend, man. But that's the main card, folks, right there.